All right, guys, it's Friday math, which means it's division. So again, do your division dance. Okay, so first thing again, this week, I want you to just write down your steps of division. So go ahead and write down the dad, mom, sister, brother, Rover, Chester on your paper. And remember, those stand for divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Rover is repeat or remainder, and Chester is check. So go ahead and write those on your paper. If you need to pause the screen, you can. And we're gonna move on. So the first problem we have, we're gonna be using our sixes. So we're gonna skip count by sixes. So on the side of your paper, right next to where you write the problem, skip count with me right now. So it's 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. So go ahead and write those on your paper. And now we're going to write the division problem right next to it. So it is 939 divided by 6. So go ahead and pause your screen and solve. All right, we're going to go ahead and solve together. So our first step is divide. So I need to think about what times 6 gets you closest to 9 without going over. So I know that that's going to be 6. So I'm going to write a 1 on the top. 1 times 6 is 6. Sister is subtract, so 9 minus 6 is 3. Brother, bring down my other 3. And now Rover, repeat. So I go back to the top and I divide. So 33 divided by 6. So what times 6 gets you closest to 33 without going over? So I know that it's going to be 5. So 5 is going to go on the top. 6 times 5 is 30. And I'm going to subtract. 33 minus 30 is 3. And I'm going to bring down my 9. Now Rover is repeat. Anytime I bring something down, I have to do Rover as repeat. So I repeat back to the top. 39 divided by 6. What times 6 gets you closest to 39 without going over? So I know it's going to be right in here, which is 6 times 6. So the 6 is going to go on the top. 6 times 6 is 36. Then 39 minus 36 is 3. So you should have gotten 156, remainder 3. I know that the 3 becomes the remainder. There's nothing else to bring down, and 3 is smaller than 6. Okay, so if I want to quickly just check it, all I have to do is take 156 times 6. And we know that 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 is 33. Give me 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And then if I add in my 3 as my remainder, I get 939. So on the next ones, just to save time, I'm not going to do the check step, but you can go ahead and do that if you'd like to make sure that your problem is correct before you press play again. Okay, so my next one, we're going to skip count by 4s. All right, so together let's skip count by 4. So skip count with me. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. So there are your skip counts. All right, and here's your next problem. It's 154 divided by 4. So go ahead and pause and solve. And remember, you can do the Chester check step on your own after you solve. All right, we're gonna go ahead and solve it together. So my first step is to think what times 4 gets me closest to 1 without going over. So I know that's gonna be 0. And like I've said before, you can write your 0 and subtract it out. But again, you're just gonna get 15. So what I like to do, if I get 0, I just wanna look over and see this 15 here. And I'm gonna divide 15 divided by 4. So 15 divided by 4 is going to be 3. And again, if you don't know your 4s, you can solve that by looking over here and thinking which one. 15 is going to go right in here. I don't want to go over, so I'm going to go to times 3. All right, so 4 times 3 is 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. and I bring down my 4. So now that I'm at the repeat step, I repeat because I brought something down. So since I brought something down, I need to repeat. 34 divided by 4. So I know that 4 times 8 is going to get me 32, which is the closest without going over. If you don't know that, again, use your skip counting. You'll notice that 34 will go right in there, and you'll want to pick the 32. So that's 8. Okay, so 8's going to go on top. 4 times 8 is 32. And then I subtract. 34 minus 32 is 2. There's nothing else to bring down. 2 is smaller than 4, so I can make it my remainder. So you should have gotten 38, remainder 2. So if you checked your work, you should know that you already got it right. Awesome. Moving right along. The next one is also times 4, so we don't have to skip count again, or divided by 4, so we don't have to skip count again. We already have it on our paper, so I'm just going to leave it on there. Again, if you know your 4s, you don't have to write all that out, but that's just in case we don't remember them. So the next one is 295. 295 divided by 4. So 295 divided by 4. So again, since 2 is smaller than 4, you can do the 0 and subtract, and you'll get 29 again. But I'm just going to skip over and do 29 divided by 4. So I need to think what times 29 is going to get me closest to 29 without going over. What times 4? So it's going to be 7. So 7 times 4 is 28. And I'm going to subtract. 29 minus 28 is 1. I bring down my 5. So 4, what times 4 gets me closest to 15 without going over? And I know we just did one just like that, right? It's going to go right in here, and it's going to be 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Then I subtract. 15 minus 12 is 3. There's nothing else to bring down. And 3 is smaller than 4, so 73 remainder 3 is my answer. All right, the next one is divided by 5. So our favorite thing to skip count by, besides maybe 10. So we're going to skip count together. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So I'm going to write that on your paper. All right, and we're going to divide now. So 3,678 divided by 5. Let's go ahead and pause and solve. All right, so what times 5? Again, since that 3 is smaller than the 5, I'm just going to move over and do 36. So what times 5 gets you closest to 36 without going over? And that's going to be 35, which is going to be 7. So 5 times 7 is 35. Subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. Bring down the 7. And now we're going to repeat. What times 5 gets you closest to 17 without going over? And that's going to be 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 15. So the 3 is going to go on top. I multiply my 5 times 3, which is 15. 17 minus 15 is 2. And then I'm going to bring down my 8. So now I have 28 divided by 5, and I know that's going to be this 25 because I don't want to go over. 30 would be over. So 25, which is 5 times 5. So 5 is going to go on the top. 5 times 5 is 25. 28 minus 25, I'm sorry, that's really sloppy. But 28 minus 25 is 3. There's nothing else to bring down. 3 is smaller than 5, so your remainder is 3. So you should have 735, remainder 3. That's your answer. All right, that's the last one. That's not a word problem. So we're going to do a word problem together now. All right, here it is. Here's your word problem. Carmen has 6 fish tanks in her room. She just bought 156 goldfish. She wants each tank to have the same number of fish. How many goldfish will each tank have in it? So there's your question. Go ahead and pause and solve. Statement, diagram. All right, so for our statement, remember we just need to turn our question around. So the question was, how many goldfish will each tank have in it? That's our question, so we need to rephrase it. We will say, each tank will have blank goldfish. Each tank will have blank goldfish. So for our tape diagram, we know the total number of goldfish. The total number of goldfish is 156. So that's our total, the whole. So that's going to be at the bottom of our tape diagram. So we should already know that just because it's the total amount, and the total always goes at the bottom. So when I draw my tape diagram, I want to draw that there's 156 total. Then we need to know she has 6 tanks. So that's one of the boxes. But we don't know how many are going to go in each tank. So that's where the X is going to go. So we need to solve. So right now we have part whole. So this isn't a subtraction problem. Since we need to figure out how many go in each one, we need to divide. So we're going to divide 156 divided by 6. So on my paper, I'm going to write 156 divided by 6. So if you didn't do that, if you didn't do dividing, go ahead and pause your screen and fix your answer before we go over it. So go ahead and fix your answer. And we're going to solve it. I'm going to solve it on the whiteboard. So again, we already skip counted by 6, so we don't have to do that. Just look up at your paper on the previous problem. So 156 divided by 6. Carmen, that's a lot of goldfish. All right, so 156 divided by 6. So what times 6 is going to get me closest to 15 without going over? So I know that's going to be 2. So the 2 goes on top because this is going to be 12 then on the inside. 6 times 2 is 12. So then I'm going to take 15 minus 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. And then I need to bring down my 6, which is 36. And then 6 divided by 36, I know that's going to be 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. 36 minus 36 is 0. There's nothing else to bring down. 0 is smaller than 6, so my remainder would be 0. So she's going to have an even number of goldfish in each one. She's going to have 26 goldfish in each of her tanks. So on my paper where I said each tank will have blank goldfish, I'm going to write 26. So each tank will have 26 goldfish. All right, that is your division for Friday. Have a great weekend, guys. Make sure you're trying to get outside. Keep moving. If you have any questions, even over the weekend, just message me. I'll probably be checking up on my email in Class Dojo. So if you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. All right, have a good weekend.